A lot of parents have told me they think the hardest part of 3D printing isn't the machine, but the software.
Today I'm learning Bambu Studio and seeing if I can print a model we find online.
That's right. I've spent the last week learning Bambu Studio so I could teach Evan the basics. The question we're going to answer today: is the software actually simple enough for a 9-year-old to follow?
We'll find out, and I'm printing something useful today, not just a toy or a benchy. Hey, what's up guys? I'm Evan.
And I'm Ryan.
Welcome to the Bonding Blueprint.
Before Evan starts learning how to run the printer today, I had to put in some time learning it myself. I ran a bunch of test prints so I could learn what I actually needed to teach him.
Yeah, he printed a lot while I was gone. When I came back, there were parts everywhere, but he saved the prints for me to help remove and clean.
I focused on printing upgrades that families will probably want or need right away. Things like a poop chute, some Gridfinity organizers, and Desiccant holders for the AMS to help keep filament dry.
The Gridfinity stuff is pretty cool too. Now all the tools in the drawers are getting organized and it's all fitting perfectly.
We also wanted to show parents how far a single $20 spool of PLA can take you. So we saved every finished print and all of the waste material, including the support scraps, so you can see the full picture.
It was kind of surprising how much you could print before the spool runs out and how much poop it makes. There was a lot.
And in a future video, we'll break down all of the real startup costs for families, including tools, consumables, safety gear, and maintenance equipment. But for today, we're just focusing on Evan's first real printing project.
I'm going to download a model from MakerWorld, open it in Bambu Studio, pick my colors and filaments, and try sending my first real print to the H2S.
Before Evan jumps into printing today, we wanted to show you everything that we printed this week while I was learning Bambu Studio. Something I really want to point out is that 3D printing is not something you just hand off to your kid and walk away from. Parents really do need to be involved in the beginning, and honestly, that's been the best part for us. Learning this together has turned into a great bonding experience for Evan and me. He's gotten really excited about working with digital files, seeing how models are built, and thinking about how things go together. So this was designed to go onto the back of the printer, and it's magnetized so you don't screw it into the back of the printer, and there's nothing back there to really screw onto where the poop chute is. So he's going to glue in all the magnets here. Those tabs going to go on the inside of the poop. There you go. Yeah. All of these different pieces and parts. Go ahead and put it on. Yeah. We've already shown off the poop chute prints quite a bit already, so we don't have to get into details here. This stuff is used in the tabletop miniature space. It's probably got some other uses. I'll link it down below in the comments. But it's basically just it's
sticky putty.
Yeah, it's a sticky putty is actually the perfect word for it, and that might actually even be what it's called. But all it needs is just a little bit. You don't need a lot, and it's just a little sticky. So what we're doing is we're just installing it right inside the lip there, and now there's some sticky putty there so it doesn't pop off, all right? So that is the purpose of the blue stuff. So that's pretty much the poop chute installed. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Nothing really big. Yeah, and then you want to install the external spool thing again. When people think about 3D printing, a lot of them picture toys or little trinkets, but there's a whole practical side that's really easy to miss. Systems like Gridfinity are a great example. It's completely modular, and you can find layouts made to fit popular furniture like these IKEA drawers. You can also design your own to fit any space in your home. I've even seen people use Gridfinity in their kitchens for organizing utensils. Printing these was a really good learning experience for me too, because it taught me how to print parts flat on the bed cleanly, how to separate pieces by color, and how to switch filament for different sections of a model. I wanted to show this to get parents and kids thinking about how useful a 3D printer can be for everyday organization, not just for making gadgets. Before we jump into Bambu Studio, I also printed these desiccant holders for the AMS. I made them out of PETG instead of PLA because PETG can handle higher temperatures during the AMS drying cycles. Learning PETG was important because Evan's spool winder is going to need a stronger material too. The holders also help keep moisture away from the filament, and even a little moisture can cause print problems. This was a quick way to learn a new material and make the AMS easier to maintain. All right, so this is Bambu Studio, right? So this is the software where you can do all kinds of things, finding models, sending them to the printer, all that stuff. And we're going to keep this pretty simple for this first little demo, and I'll show you all the other stuff later, right? Up in this upper left-hand corner is this green home button, right? And that's kind of where this starts. And here, this is just your profile that you're signed in under, but you've got these 4 different tabs, right? Well, 5 if you count that one, right? So there's the library, and the library is just stuff that I've opened in the past. So this is recently opened. So these are all things that I've recently opened, online models that you can find online that are like similar to things that you've looked at. Apparently I've looked up a cat. and then Maker Lab, which is like little different projects and stuff like that. So really what we're getting through today is finding a model that's online, that's already set up for our printer. So it's pretty easy to print without getting into a lot of settings, right? And so you're going to do that by coming to this online models. Online models it's basically MakerWorld, and MakerWorld is an online storage thing for all kinds of different 3D files. And right now it's showing a lot of like tools and stuff, but there's like keychains and knitted elephants. And so there's tons and tons of stuff that you could look at. You could search up, Fortnite stuff or Minecraft stuff. All right, let's see what Fortnite says. So if you search for Fortnite, right, it's going to come up with it looks like there's some Peely stuff,
Fortnite Victory Crown.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. There's the Peely, there's not today. But these are, examples of all kinds of different things for Fortnite.
A pump shotgun.
A pop shot. Yes, exactly. But this is where you would find models for anything that you want. But, right, you can search up Fortnite, you can search up Minecraft or all kinds of stuff. You can also come up here under collections. And as you find stuff you like, there's up here under like my collections. I've made a couple of categories. Need to print are kind of things that we just needed to print, like tools or the Gridfinity stuff. There's an Evans wish list that I created. So as you're looking through here and you find models that you want to save.
Victory Crown.
You want to do a Victory Crown? What, this one?
Yep.
So if you wanted to print a Victory Crown, right, you could click up here to these 3 dots and say collect it. Or if you click into the file to see the details, down here you can also collect it here. When you click on collect, it automatically puts it in need to print, but then you could change it and say, hey, I want to put that in my wish list. And then that'll be saved for later. So when you come back in here, you don't have to find this again. You'll find it right here under your
V-Box.
Under your collections. All right. Well, we're not going to save a bunch of Fortnite stuff. This is something you can look at on your computer and reserve models to print for later, right? So I'm just showing you.
And I can just print these right now if I wanted.
Sure, we could. Most of these are already set up with profiles for our printer, so we could put them on our printer and print them. Now I don't have all the colors that we need for some of these things and stuff like that, right?
I want to print one of those today.
Well, we're not printing the crown today. We're printing practical things that we need, and then we'll get into fun stuff later. You have to print a respooler. Remember, we need to get that spool respooled. Otherwise, it's just sitting there. We can't use it. We'll print something fun after that. Okay? All right. So don't show your kids too many cool things because then they won't want to print the things that they need to print. And what I want to show you is I'm going to pop open some files that I recently printed so you can kind of see just how things work a little bit. So let's pick out something simple. These are all things that I've recently printed, right? The poop chutes, that poop chute holder, the Gridfinity stuff, these things, right? So let's pop open. We'll just pop open in the knife holder here that we have. So when you go to open a model, it's going to pull up this page, right? So any model that you click on, whether it's the hat or any of the other Fortnite stuff, it pulls up this little pop-up page. And up here, under Print Profile, it's all the printers that this has been configured with. And if you move over here, do you remember our printer? The H2S, right? So you'd say, hey, I'm printing this on an H2S printer. And it's going to send all of the settings with this little holder to the software. I was trying to find a better example here. Peely controller? Yeah, all right. Right. So if you were to open up the Peely controller thing, this is the original file that the designer made, right? And it's made to be printed in different types of filament, PLA and stuff like that. Now, some of these people have designed different Peely models. So this guy made it smaller. So he printed a super small model. This one is extra supports for this type of printer. So anyway, what's happening is other people like me or you can take a model that somebody's built and make it work really well for our type of printer. So sometimes there's different options in here. People have fixed certain parts. So like, let's pop open this. This is probably the rewinder that we're going to print later. So this one, the designer made, and this one, oh, see, look, where it says improved slider, no more snagging or jamming. So what probably happened is this designer made this entire spool rewinder. And this person said, you know what, this piece right here isn't working properly, so I'm going to make it better. So we might print all of this except for this piece. We might want to print the one that looks like it works better. Okay, so now what we're going to get into is showing you what it looks like when you open up one of these models. Let's use this one because we're familiar with this one. Download and open. Now, what this thing is it pops up and it says, hey, the printer that you have, TBB Printer Jimmy, is a Bambu H2S. To use our printer for printing, we have to switch the printer to the H2S. And we want to say, hey, switch it to ours. Okay, and all it does is it switches the printer and it makes the build plate bigger. This is the prepare tab, and prepare is where you can take the model, move around, look at it. You can scale it up, you can scale it down. If you click in any empty space and you hold left click and you move around, that's what lets you rotate around and look at the object. Holding right click and moving lets you pan the screen around, moving it left to right, up and down. The other things that you want to check at in the prepare tab is to make sure all of this is correct. Now, most of this, if it's set up correctly, should sync automatically with your printer. But you want to make sure, is this the right texture plate? Because if you tell it, hey, we're using this engineering plate, it's going to send it to the printer and think it's got a super smooth surface. So it's going to use different settings. But for right now, as long as you hit sync info and you say continue to sync, I want to overwrite and you say sync now. What it did is, see under project filaments, okay, this filament 1, 2, 3, and 4, this is what's in the AMS that's attached to the printer right now. We've got the black matte PLA, and you can see here with the color, we've got the blue PLA basic, and then we've got the PETG and PETG, the black and the white, right? So the little square next to it tells you what color it is, and this tells you what type of filament it is. And this is a lot to take in right now, but we'll run through this a few times and I'll keep it very simple. And you're going to have to do that every time you open a file. So if we come back over here to the home, right, and we're back in this library and we say, oh, you know what?
No, do the Fortnite Victory Crown.
Do the Fortnite Victory Crown. So we're going to say download and open. And what it's doing is it's saying, hey, you've got a project open. Do you want to save that before continuing? And in this case, we don't, right? Because we just opened it up off of MakerWorld. We're not going to save it yet. So I'm going to say no. And now it opens the crown and immediately it pops up with this again, right? Hey, where's my Bambu H2S? So you just say switch now, make sure the plate is correct. And then as soon as you open it up, you see how now it only shows one filament here? So as soon as you open up the file, you say synchronize with the AMS and say overwrite, and then just hit sync. You can select the object just by clicking on it, like left click on it to select it. Oh, you have to click on the build plate for some reason to unselect it, okay? So you click off of it, and then click and that unselects it. Now, if you want to change the filament, if you push this little button right here next to process, you push this button and it pulls up all the objects in a scene. And here you can change by double clicking on it which filament you want from your AMS. That's pretty much the basics. Open a file, correctly set your printer, make sure you synchronize your filament so your filament's correct. And then you would open this up and you'd tell it which filament you want to use on this part. Okay, and I'm oversimplifying this considerably, but just to show you some of the basics. Okay, if you wanted to print this, okay, you've got all these tabs up at the top. First, you go to the home to find a model you want. Then you go to prepare it and tell it what filament you want to put on it. Then you go to this next tab, preview. And what the preview does is it's thinking, and it thinks for a bit. And it says, you know what? Okay, we've got this print. How do I print this so it prints correctly? And it didn't add anything else to the scene. It pretty much says, hey, you know what? We've looked at this. And I can print it right on the print bed without doing anything. So this is pretty much ready to go and ready to print. And it'll tell you up here how much it's going to use and a bunch of other information we're not going to get into today, right? But the cool thing is once you go to preview and you want to see how it's going to print, that's what this slider here on the right is. This will show you layer by layer how it's going to print. As it grows up, right, you can see it actually printing each individual layer, and that's what it's going to look like. It's going to print each layer like that on the printer. For today, we're going to start with this one. It's small. It doesn't take up a lot of space. So yeah, go ahead. What's up?
Isn't that the cell spool liner that we need to pipe? I could have sworn that was the one where it made like the fumes.
Oh, ABS. You're talking about the filament. So the designer originally designed this for ABS, which is a really, really sturdy and durable filament, which is probably why he used this for the gears and stuff like that to make sure they're extra strong. We can't use ABS yet because I haven't set up the exhaust system. So for now, well, somebody else has done the same thing. That's why this file exists. Somebody took this file and said, you know what? I don't want to use ABS. I'm going to make a profile for it that uses PETG instead. And that's what we're going to do. What they've done is it looks like they've grouped this stuff up into different piece types. Here, you know what? You take the mouse for a little bit. Why don't you fool around and feel out, what's going on and stuff like that. So right here, I'm letting Evan take the controls and just get comfortable with Bambu Studio. This is the perfect time to experiment because if anything gets moved or rotated in the wrong way, we can always reopen the file. He wanted to try lining up the parts on the build plate in a way that made sense to him, and that's exactly what I want at this stage. Just messing around, learning how the tools feel, and getting familiar with the interface before we move on. So now the question is just, what color do you want to print the pieces in?
Can I choose that?
You can, but make all one plate one color.
Why?
If you print everything in one color, it only has to print that whole plate in one color. It doesn't have to switch in the middle of the print.
So how do I change?
Go in and overwrite the filament. All right, now you get to select all those pieces again. Okay, now right click. And you want to say set filament for selected items, and you choose which filament you want. So do you want to print this in white or black? Those are pretty much your choices. Okay, now redo that again though, because you chose PLA, which is a little bit more brittle and it breaks easier. And for this, we don't want any of these gears to break. They have to be super strong.
PETG?
PETG, correct. All right, select the first, select the last. There we go. All right, right click. And there might be some better ways to do this. You want to choose, what are we doing, the white or you want those black? Mm-hmm. You want everything black? Really? Yeah, you don't want to multicolor that? Okay, all right. Hey, it's your rodeo. Now that plate back there, okay, we can print.
I have a plan for this.
Oh, okay. Now we can print that in PLA. So you can use white, black, red, or blue because we have those 4 colors for PLA if you wanted to print those in weird colors. I'll let you multicolor print. You want to do the whole hand? All right, you know what? That's a good example of color printing. So select the handle. Right now it's using all of it's using the wrong filament. So select those 3 things on the bed. If you hold Control and select it, selects multiples, and then select the other one. There you go. Ooh. Okay, now you can right click and set filament. So what color combination are you going to do?
So this I actually want to be black.
You want the handle to be, okay, so make the handle black, or make this all black first, and then you'll color the part that you want blue. Okay, so now you've got your black filament, yep. So click your paint bucket, okay, and it's in height mode, and you're on the blue filament. So now you just zoom into the bottom, because you want to start at the bottom and then drag it up. So if you make this larger, it makes your paintbrush larger, and then over here.
All right, let me cook.
Okay.
Erasal painting.
Don't forget, you want to zoom in too, so you can get close. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it just takes a while to update. It's a complicated mesh. And then just, zoom in, make sure you got the top of it and stuff like that. Looks like you did. Looks like it's all blue.
Actually.
You're going to print the tip black?
Yes. That look cool.
It's your design. Doesn't matter what I think. Make something that you like. What, the gears?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, why don't you wanted to cook? And this is about you learning how to do it, not me. I could do it fast, but there's no need for me to do it fast. Now, if you're going to change the color of it, move it off to another panel. Okay. Each panel can be its own color. So anything white you're going to print, put over there. Going for the white on these 3 pieces? Mm-hmm. Is that all you want in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So select all 3 and then set it to the white. There you go.
I feel like it would be cool to have like that.
It probably would be cool, yes. But that would burn up a redonkulous amount of filament.
And we probably couldn't even do that because it would have to like get
It would have to
layered.
switch every single layer. Yeah, that would take forever to print. Now,
That'd be like 5
at some
hours.
point in the future, Bambu Labs, if you like our videos and you want to sponsor us and you want to
Give us like
send,
5 more.
if you want to send us an H2C, which is a multicolor printer, I'm happy to print those gears in multiple colors.
Please.
For right now,
guys.
well, for right now, we got this because we were thinking big Iron Man suit. We'd only be printing in one color and
I do those.
need a finer touch. Go for
I
it.
do that.
Make them white. Yeah, it's all PETG, so it's going to be the strong stuff. It's just I only have white and black for PETG. Don't worry about the prime tower for now. When you change the filament, it'll go away. The prime tower is only present if there's multiple colors on one plate. Which one do you want to print first? What do you think? You going to do this big base one, the big black one
Why
first?
not?
Why not? All right. Take control. Okay, so first, you want to click on that build plate. And now that you've got, slow. Now that you've got that build plate selected, before you send it, you have to come up here to the preview. So now hit the preview button.
Murph.
Because what the preview button does is it makes sure that whatever's in here, if it needs supports, it'll build supports for it. It might need supports for that big, giant, tall tower. This must be designed to print on a print bed without any supports. Because what it's doing is it's taking what you did in Prepare, and it's writing a bunch of computer code and instructions to tell the printer, hey, move the print head to here and release this much filament. Remove here. You know what I mean? It's giving it code to tell it how to move around. So right now it's writing all of that pre-programmed stuff. All right, so all build plates are now prepped. So save the file before you print. So go up and hit print plate. Oh, hold on. Before we print,
My gosh.
physically get up and go look at the printer, make sure that the print bed, okay, so we just went into the printer room, double check everything, make sure your build plate's on there, make sure your build plate's clean. We actually had left a little bit of stuff on the build plate, so it was good that we double checked it. We checked the filament, make sure the filament's fed into the AMS properly. Otherwise, there's not a lot to check with the printer. So Evan is going to submit his very first print. Go ahead. So you want to print? Oh my, oh no. Oh no, look out. It went away. We made a big deal out of it, that's why. So TVB printer Jimmy, PEI plate is correct. We're printing with that filament in this case. And then make sure all of these are either set to auto or on, okay? And then hit send. And cross your fingers. And hope.
Cross your toes.
Cross your fingers and your toes, people.
I think I'm getting it, but I need more practice. Moving the model was easy, but remembering all the tools is going to take a few tries.
And I'm still working on how to teach this in a simple way. Learning the software is one thing, teaching it on camera is another.
I want to try sending more prints, but I know I'm not ready to do it completely on my own yet. I think if I do a few more, I'll get the hang of it.
And that's exactly what we're doing next. Evan is going to get more hands-on time with the software, and in our next 3D printing video, we're going to look at all of the prints in more detail and talk about the real startup costs families should expect when getting into 3D printing. If you're enjoying this 3D printing journey with us, make sure to subscribe. We both have a lot more learning to do, and we're taking this step by step so families can follow along with us.
Yeah, and if you already do 3D printing as a family, tell us in the comments what some of your first prints were, or if you haven't started yet, what you want to try printing first.
And if you want to see the spool winder in action, or learn what 3D printing actually costs to get into, stick around for our next video. We've got a lot to go through.